Folks, I'll be sharing my techniques and this technology at these upcoming spaces. Sure hope to meet you there.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Friday, October the 19th, and this is the Futures in 5. We're taking a look at the ES here. And what we see is that we're fairly range bound, right? We've got an edge here that drifted a bit lower than I suspected, but we did recover to that edge of 2770, and that's going to be the region that we will look at as the line in the sand today. Below that level, we are likely to stair step downward, and above that level, we are likely to head into the resistance zone. We still are vulnerable to selling. As long as we stay underneath this 2798, 2797 area, our bounces are very likely to give us sell zones. And that really is what we want to watch. We can see from the undercurrent of motion here that our charts are fairly noisy in terms of directional momentum. It is very mixed, and that is what we will continue to see today. Taking a look at the NQ, we've got the same thing. Notice this. This is last week's volume profile. This is this week's volume profile. What are we doing? Filling in this area, right? So what's the next area to fill in? This zone right here. Bounce action should take us up to here, but we do remain vulnerable to selling anywhere below 72.68. Pullbacks, holding. We've got low, higher low, another higher low. I've been saying overall, listen, deep pullbacks are going to be buy zones. The question is, what's a deep pullback look like? Volume profiles will help you figure that out. So if you aren't studying them, I really would recommend that you do that. It will enhance your trading skill. Let's take a look at the YM. Same sort of thing, really doing a little bit more to hold the base rather than fill in the volume, right? So recovery here has not been as strong, and so that still says there's an undercurrent of weakness trying to hold here, and we will remain vulnerable to selling as long as we sit underneath this 25,700 area, 25,680, anything like that. Those bounce actions are going to give us fade zones. Again, low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So we are holding the bottom. They're trying to give us the move up. The problem is when you hold a bottom and you don't significantly breach resistance, it tells you that selling pressure is still in command. And so that's what we are looking for. We'll watch that here. If you automatically then say, hey, I'm just going to short up there, we could easily break and then barrel up and squeeze tremendously. So watch out, right? Wait until it gets to that edge if you're looking for the short, then position yourself and move to the upside. For oil, yes, for oil, we are looking at really pretty messy motion, right? This is last week. We came in, tried to hold it, and then absolutely collapsed. Pretty nasty. You know, my suspicion was that we would move lower, very honestly. But our formations continue to tell us that this high, low, lower high, lower low, it's telegraphing a high probability of a lower high that then fades. So what do we want to see? Listen, if you want to see this chart breach higher, it's going to have to get up and stay up over 69.43. Otherwise, it's going to try and fill in that bottom. If it loses this edge, all of this is telegraphing the downward motion, and that really gives us about 66.70 as a baseline with 67.60 as a relative support event. That is based on historical levels across the composite chart. So that's what you want to watch. Are we holding? Yes. Do we have momentum that says that is going to hold better? That would be no. So all our bounces are still sell zones here. What we're doing, however, is holding a bottom. So this one is very messy, extremely messy. Taking a look at gold, this is almost the inverse of the oil chart, which is very interesting to me. However, this volume action, look at how thin it is, and it's not come back there. So what does that tell us? Okay, so as a volume profile person, I will say, hey, this should fill in. but it's not. So what's happening? Well, that's enthusiasm for buying. All right. What we have to understand is that trading is not simply looking at data points. It's trying to understand what the participants are thinking and what is causing them to move into the space. And if I have a massive, swift move that should fade but doesn't, it tells me that my enthusiasm for buying remains. And so I really don't have any pretty shorts unless I get right to the edge of resistance, and then I can try it there. And if it doesn't immediately fade for me like these do, I've got to cut and run. It's really fairly straightforward. I think a lot of times we think about the wrong focus when we look at trading. We try to look at technical trading as a series of data points, and many would argue that. I certainly am not in that camp. However, I think it's really all about the participants. This is just a picture, and what we have to do is learn to interpret it in terms of what are people thinking and what's that going to cause them to move. It's the mob dynamic, and we see it here every day. All right, good luck trading. Have a great weekend. Really still enjoying Costa Rica, and I'll talk to you on Monday.